I was a fan of Richard Ford's. I'd read a few books of his, and I had just read a book called Rock Springs, which is a short story collection that's written in a type of language that I just love and really respond to, which is something that is very, seems simple, but is really complex, spare, honest, and I was like, oh my God, does he have another book like this? And I found this book called Wildlife, and you know, pretty much from the first sentence I knew I was going to love this book. And I thought after reading it, there might be a film here, and maybe a film here for me to make. So I thought about it for about a year, just kind of daydreamed. I read the book several times, and sort of once I thought of the final scene and the final image of the film, that gave me just enough courage to try to write. So I wrote to Richard. He said, Go make your film. It's your film. Don't worry about my book. You do you, which was a great gift. And so I wrote a first draft. I gave it to Zoe for encouragement, and then she just tore it apart. Yeah.
Well, you know, he had done a beautiful job of taking sort of like all the treasure from the book and putting it on the page, but it wasn't really a script. It was more like a treatment or something. And so it was very hard for me to give him notes on it. And we just fought. You know, I think we didn't get past page 5. We just started fighting, and then I said, I think you should just let me rewrite this for you. I think it would be easier and we'll fight less. And he thought that was a good idea. And then we just traded scripts back and forth, the drafts, for about 3 years.
A lot of things excited me was the names behind it, like Paul and Zoe was already so exciting. And then I just loved the script. It was kind of like nothing I'd ever read, because usually the part of a child is kind of just either the kid of someone or maybe someone at school. But this was a really interesting character, and it was kind of and it was interesting because you only ever see this kind of family affair through Joe's eyes, through the kid's eyes. And so that's what I thought was so interesting and so unique, and it just kind of instantly drew me to it. And I loved the script. I thought it was so beautifully written, and I could just see it so in my head. So it was so incredibly written. Yeah, I could just see it visually, and I just wanted to do it immediately.
Just to get to play someone who makes lots of mistakes. You know, lots of times in films, women aren't really allowed to make mistakes or be bad mothers. Or if they are bad mothers, they are only bad mothers, and they are destroying the protagonist in the doing of that. And that's not what this is. It's just someone who's having a bit of a moment. And she's a good mum, but she's also has moments of not being a good mum, not being a good wife. But yeah, it was poetic in a really beautiful way, but also completely naturalistic and felt so real. You know, that's such a rare thing to get. I think you can get sort of, I think in England we call it like BAFTA gritty, where the writing is just like, you know, it's very real, but it's kind of like just miserable. But this had this beautiful poetry to the writing, but it also was real interactions between real people who were sort of trying to navigate their situation. So, and she was just such a complete gift, and I was so honoured to be sent it and called them back within about like an hour and a half of reading it, champagne glass in hand on my fire escape. Said, yes, please, yes, please.
Really felt like Paul was part of the ensemble cast, which was really great. It was this feeling that I had never experienced before, but it was great. He totally spoke the actor's language, and if someone had told me that this was Paul's 100th film, I would have believed him. It didn't seem like his first film. He was incredible in every way.
There was not a millisecond where it crossed my mind that Paul hadn't made like 17 films before that. I just felt so taken. And what you want really ultimately from a director who is, you don't want constant affirmation. You don't want someone slapping you on the back and telling you you're amazing. You want someone who pushes you and tries to get different things out of you. That sounds wrong, but ultimately someone's like holding you really nicely in their hand, but occasionally like chucking you up into the sky for a second, and that's what it felt like being directed by Paul. You were just, it always like in safe hands, but occasionally you just get a good shove to go and do something interesting.